In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to make this interactive speed equation explorer using Excel 2016. Firstly, to add these control buttons, we need to access the Developer tab. To do so, we go File, Options, go to the Customize ribbon, and then over here we tick on the developer and then press OK. And now we have access to this Developer tab. So we'll start here with a new sheet, which is mostly blank. We want to have these two cells here for entering the speed, and later we'll add a control where we can scroll and change the speed. So I'll just put a border around these two cells. So we'll add some times here in increments of, say, 0.5 seconds. So to do that, we type 0 in the first cell, and then we type 0.5, and then we click and drag to select those two cells, and then point the cursor over until it turns into a plus sign, and we drag that down, and we can see just next to it the value it's up to. So we want it down to about 10 seconds. Okay, while we've got all those selected, we can format the cells and maybe change the number of decimal places so it looks a bit neater. So we want, say, 1 decimal place each. So next we want to add some distances, but in this case we'll refer to the speed equation and enter the distances using a formula. So the formula for speed is distance over time. So we rearrange this to find distance, which will be distance equals speed times time. So that's the basis of our formula. So I'll just put that formula over here. So to enter a formula, we type equals, then we want to select the first value, which is the speed. So we select this cell and it comes up with G2, but we want to make sure that this is an absolute value that stays fixed. So we need to press at the top of the keyboard the F4 function key. And then you'll notice it comes up with $. So if you can't figure it out, you just type in the $signs as shown. So we're going to times the speed by the time. So we type in now an asterisk, which is the symbol for multiplication in spreadsheet. So we times it by time. So we just click on this first value of time here. Now all we need to do is press OK, and it will do the calculation. So it's times, in this cell here, it's times the speed by the time. So they're both 0, so you get 0. Now all we have to do here is to have this cell selected and copy the values down. I'm just going to do it for the first one. Okay, and it's still 0, and that's because we've got time is 0. So let's just make time, for example, 10 meters per second. Okay, so it's now recalculated it. So now we can again copy this all the way down. So we drag it to here and it'll calculate all of those cells. So now we'll just repeat the action again. So we can create a second graph and then we can do some comparisons. So equals, and this time we want to choose the second speed. And don't forget, press the F4 function key right at the top of the keyboard. And then the asterisk is times, and then go over here and click the time. and then press enter. Go back to the cell, click it. When this turns into a plus, we can drag the formula all the way down. Okay, again, we've got zeros because the speed is 0. So if we make that perhaps a speed of 5 and enter, it will recalculate. Let's just tidy up the decimal places. So if we click and drag over all of those cells and then go to home and over to the increase decimals and maybe decrease decimals, so it's 1 decimal place. That's nice and neat. Now that we've got our data entered, we can create a graph. So we need to click on, don't click up here, just click on these headings here and then click and drag across and then all the way down, so you've got that block of data selected. Now we go up to the Insert tab and we're going to insert a scatter graph. So we want one without lines and we press click. Okay. We'll worry about formatting the graph and the rest of the spreadsheet later. We'll just get the operation happening. So let's just go up to the speed for the first object and let's change that speed and make it faster. As you see, it recalculates and then it replots the graph. And same again, we could have this one, maybe faster still. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll add the scroll bars to make it a bit more fun when we go about changing the speed. Just click on this cell here, go up to the developer tool, go to insert, and then we're going to find the scroll bar. So if we click on scroll bar and then you come up with a cross, we're going to just draw over the top of this cell here and then it draws in the scroll bar. So now we want to change the properties. So while you've got the scroll bar selected, go up to the developer tab and choose properties. So the first thing we'll do here is just change the name, call it speed control 1, don't leave any gaps. The next thing we do is link the scroll bar to the cell we want to control, which is, so the cell we want to control is G2, the cell just above it. So now I'm not sure, I don't know if we have to make that this is absolute, so we might just put some $signs in just in case. Now the next thing we can modify is the maximum. So we want to set a range. So we don't want the speed going all the way up to 1,000,000 or whatever this maximum is. We might just set it to say 100 meters per second as the maximum and keep the minimum as 0. So let's just test if that works. So we'll close this, go back to the developer tab, click on this design mode to take us out of design mode, and then the control button should work. So if we click on that, it's working fine. So let's come over here and repeat the process. So we go developer, insert, scroll bar, draw it in where you want it, which is just below the second speed. Go up to developer again, choose properties, we'll name it, speed control 2, no spaces, link the cell, so this time we're J2, so we'll make it absolute again, just in case, and give the maximum 100 again. So close the properties, go back to developer, click to turn off design mode, and then test it out. And that one's working. So the next video will go through how to format the graph to have these trend lines and to show the equation of the line.